time for us to check out the world of chess.com and get Danny's day started. I didn't actually make any of my moves in my daily chess games this morning, despite this 15-minute delay, for you, so I can make these moves live and provide some chess instructions. So we're going to do the normal gambit. We're going to check in with our daily chess games. Everybody should have about a dozen daily chess games going at once. That's just healthy. And then we're gonna check in with the content, see what the latest and greatest breaking news is in the chess world, and maybe check out some articles. Then we're going to maybe play a blitz game today, blitz or bullet. We got to get one game in today before we solve the daily puzzle. We're going to do that first. And then we'll do a feature. Maybe I'll try my hand in a drill again. Maybe we'll do some puzzles. We haven't done one of those yet. We've done vision and drills, and obviously puzzles are always instructive to see inside the mind of a man like Jimmy Neutron. And so that's what we're going to do. Thank you for being here. And of course, in the middle of all that, we're going to take your questions. We've gotten some really good questions on the Chess Today show, things about how to improve and feature requests and feedback, and we love it all. So I want to remind everybody while I have your ear that tomorrow, that is Friday, we have a special stateofchess.com right at 10 a.m. Pacific, where Eric and Jay, the co-founders, will be joining me to talk about the history of chess.com. They will also be taking your questions with my moderation, giving them some hard-hitting questions and some good ones. And so join us tomorrow for a quick history and review if you don't know the history of chess.com. Yesterday was chess.com's 10-year anniversary. That's right, yesterday, May 17th, was the 10-year anniversary of chess.com's launching, going live. So that was pretty exciting for all of us. And I wasn't even here 10 years ago, really just the founders, and I think Piotr, the chess architect of live chess, Matt Helfst, one of our first original support guys, and a couple others were really the core people first involved, and so really exciting. It's going to be a fun time tomorrow. But without further ado, let's jump in and see just how many daily chess games I have going here. We've got a lot, so we're just going to jump in. I mean, we can see on my homepage we've got some games waiting, so let's go ahead and jump in and get the analysis going. I think one of the things that we know is, let's see, I guess it looks pretty good. One of the things we know that I'm going to be doing is talking a little bit about our analysis feature. I'm going to make this a little smaller so we feel like we have everything on screen here. So okay, in this game, the only move you guys missed was we played a few moves, but this is a classical French, and for those who've been following the show, you've seen me start this game, and rather than going for the traditional move here, which is to castle long, so if we were analyzing this position, I would castle long, and black has a number of moves, including knight to b6. I think bishop to b7 is also a move. But, you know, these are the more traditional classical positions, and black is going to go for a queenside attack, and white's goal is often just to positionally transfer into an endgame. To give you an example of the kind of thing white would do if black did nothing, like, you know, or not do nothing, but let's say didn't stop it. White would eventually do something like this, trying to bring a knight into the center position here. Note that it can't actually be captured because you have these discovered checks winning the queen. And so, you know, and then if I get my next goal, I would somehow be trading off this light square bishop for this knight and having a good knight versus a potentially bad bishop endgame. But it's not that simple. I mean, that sounds really pie in the sky and pretty straightforward for white, but you know, if black you know, puts a knight on c4 in some positions, then when you capture, they actually take with this pawn and open up the bishop. Or in some other move orders, sometimes black attack is actually much faster than white's. And, you know, though I actually prefer and like these positions for white, I decided to do something a little different against this guy, which was I basically launched this plan of the dark square dominance before castling long. One of the things you can do as a chess player, the reason why you learn the strategical aspects of a position is so that, you know, I always make the joke, it's like, you know, so now you understand where you're driving the car to, right? You're not just, oh, I got my pieces out, let's wait for the first tactic to happen, right? You have a place you're driving the car, and if somebody blunders and jumps in the middle of the road, then that's their problem, right? But you are going toward a strategical goal no matter what your opponent does. So I started the strategical goal first playing a3, which is not a very good move if you intend to castle long. Because if you intend to castle long, a3 is a move that can be pried open, right? They can play b4 and pry open squares and access to your king. So that's not what I'm interested in doing. I'm actually planning on playing this move knight e2. And after bishop b7, I'm going to go forward with my plan and play the move c3. I'm planning on, sort of taking this overprotective approach of the dark squares and go for this idea of sort of strangling strangling black on the dark squares while that bishop is bad. And so I'm going for a purely sort of positional approach and maintaining the flexibility of where I'm going to put my king in that game. So there you go. This is, let's see. So we have the bishop comes to b4 here. This one has been interesting. He's played a kind of a simple approach, this guy, after playing kind of the ugly Nimzo that I was talking about, where he put the bishop on d2. He plays a lot of natural queens pawn game moves, but black is doing pretty well here. I mean, I'm at least equal, I think, with the strong knight, and a pretty natural lead in development. I'll play rook e8. Obviously, I'm not worried about anything on e7. I can take it. So far, I feel pretty good about most of my games in the official 36th official chess.com tournament, which is dangerous for me because the moment I feel good about my games is when I usually start blundering. All right, so bishop g5. That's interesting. He's playing something that is normally not the best idea after you've played c4. So how would I want to expose this directly? One of the biggest issues with a move like this should be something on the dark squares on the queen side. You can play the Trompowsky, okay? Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can play the Trompowsky where you play bishop g5, but in these positions, you're not seeing white play c4. You're seeing white play things like e4, and it's a different game. It's a very aggressive and dynamic game where white is giving up the bishop pair but owns a big center. If you caught my show with Hutch, I talked a little bit about this just I think last Thursday. So if someone is playing bishop g5 with the move c4, my first thought that comes to mind, and I'm going to add that a comment, so first thought that comes to mind is an exposure of the queen side dark squares. Whether that, dark squares, whether that means an immediate c5, or perhaps something slower to bring, you can play h6 to bring the knight to e4 with ideas like h6 and g5 and knight e4. So, these are thoughts to keep in mind. I love our new comments and save feature. The fact that we can do all of these things. Right? I mean, the fact that we can, you see all the things we can do here? I can even give this one like a slightly dubious remark. I'm actually very against, you should not evaluate your opponent's moves or your own during a game. If you're one of those guys out there who gives yourself an exclam on every move, okay, first of all, take a look in the mirror, buddy, right? Vanity doesn't serve chess players well. It really doesn't. Usually cynical attitudes toward life and jaded perspectives serve you well. But, if you think you're playing brilliant moves all the time and giving yourself exclams, you should check yourself before you wreck yourself, literally. I normally don't like to give moves. How do I take it away? Oh, I can't take it away unless, what if I do the same thing? Interesting. Maybe that's a feature we should add, the ability to get rid of the comment. Remove annotation. Oh, cool. So you can remove the annotation, so that's pretty sweet. All right, so I'm going to play c5. The more I've talked about it, the more I think it makes sense. So let's go back to this. I'm going to play c5. And now my only worry is that he might actually, so if we analyze it, if I play c5, let's delete that variation. If I play c5 and he plays d5, but here's the position I'm talking about where now he might get himself in a little bit of trouble. Like if I just play h6, and he doesn't take it, like in some of these positions, you just kind of go all in for the dark squares because now my bishop is coming here, my queen is coming out here, and you're exposing the fact that this bishop is supposed to be over here, really. And if they play this, you play f6. And I know this is like, oh, well, is this going to become a mess? It might, but probably a mess that favors black with the bishop pair and, I don't know. This is a position I probably have never played before, but it's something to keep in mind in terms of the risk of bringing your bishop out in a queen's pawn game when when it really doesn't belong there. So this is interesting, and I'm always curious how players maintain such a high daily chess rating when they don't know openings, and I think it's because they do the opposite of me. They actually take their time when the position gets more critical, and the 3 days per move, and that shows you that you can get away with a lot of lack of knowledge if you have time. If you have time to think, you can make up for a lot of lack of theoretical and strategical knowledge in chess. It's true. So, okay, I'm going to play c5. We'll see how this goes. It should be fun. All right, so here we have a winner with French. He's threatening to take the pawn. There are other variations like a3, like bishop d3, but I'm not going to mess around with that. The straightforward variation that you should all know is the variation with e5, and we're going to get a French here. Similar to the theme we talked about, where black is going to have to worry about the dark squares, though the board is sort of flipped from the last game. But okay, this is all theory, and we have plenty to go here, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Now, this is a normal move to play, c4 here, and I play e6, and now we're headed toward some sort of traditional Nimzo Indian or Queen's Indian. Now, he plays knight f6, so I had talked about playing a Veresov, right? That was my goal. I could also play bishop g5 Veresov, but I'm going to play the bishop f4 Veresov. Anybody who's followed my bullet brawls or blitz games for years knows that I kind of like that stuff. I don't normally do it in daily chess. Normally it's a blitz weapon, but, you know, we're having fun here. So let's play a normal queen's pawn game. How do I want this game to go? Do I want some sort of hedgehog? Maybe. Possibly. Probably b6 will be what I play. See, the one thing you have to worry about sometimes if you play these moves early is that, let's say something like this happens and they go here and they go here. If you don't go into a Queen's Indian with e6, or like if you make some sort of mistake of not recognizing the potential issues here, like g6 or c5, sometimes white can aggressively play for moves like d5. And now you haven't really gotten yourself in any favors with this approach. So to prevent that, you would want to play a move like c5 first, which is also a very good move on move 2. But if you play c5 first, they may play c4 and then play d4 instantly, and now you're not really going to have a chance to get a hedgehog. So I like to play b6 first, and worst case scenario, if we do get a position like this with c4, I have no problem playing e6 because I am a Nimzo Queen's Indian player by trade. You know, so this is just transposing to a typical variation of the Queen's Indian. So, okay, so that's what I'm going to do. We'll save the analysis. We'll go back. So I'm just going to play b6, and Bob's your uncle. And just like that, the first portion of the show is... Oh, no, it's not. He's already here. He's moved. Look at that guy. He's all over it, huh? He played rook c8. Well, I'm going to go forward with the plan, right? Let's put the pony on d4. Is there a reason why I would want that knight there instead of the other knight? I don't think so. I mean... I think this knight probably has more potential to do other things so on this side of the board. So let's put the knight on d4. And see, this could be irritating for him because if he's not anticipating the way that direction's going, I guess I'll come back to the game because this guy's moving so fast. So should I play a5 and gain a tempo, see if he really wants to commit his bishop to this side of the board? Something about that just feels like instinctively right, because if he moves the bishop, now there may be tactics here sometimes, and he's committing the bishop to a3. Sure, that's a nice diagonal. But that's interesting. And so I'm going to play a5 with tempo, and then I'm probably going to start executing an aggressive plan. We might see the rook lift a la Larry Christensen hop on that elevator. So let's go back to that guy's game real quick. Where are all my games? How do I go to all my daily chess games? I go over here. And what's the fastest way to see? How come it only shows 6? And what does this do? This changes the view so I can see all my ready games. Even here, I don't see the games with this guy. Right? That's interesting. This shows us the boards. So this must go to all the current games. Okay, so interesting. I learned the navigation of our own site. So, okay, let's see here. Let's go to this guy's game. What's interesting about this, what I was saying, is that if he's not anticipating the plan that I've been sort of instructing to you guys upon, is that, you know, so now I have some flexibility because I can still castle short here, right? So let's say if he goes forward with moves that are normally like, you know, if I'm castling long, those are the moves that he wants, right? He can get even knight a4 and a5 and b4 coming, and it's, you know, it's sexy. He loves what he's doing. But no, like if I just castle this way, now he has to be careful because if he goes forward with traditional plans that are just trading into this positional nightmare of a good knight for a bad bishop, you know, and he's not getting the counterplay against the king that is sort of the dynamic imbalance. He has this middle game pressure that makes it less easy for me to manipulate the game toward an endgame where I have a good knight versus bad bishop. This may not be his favorite thing that's ever happened, right? So this is interesting. If he goes for this, you know, now, you know, I feel like I'd feel confident in my ability to transition toward the endgame holding on to the good knight versus the bad bishop without the normal worries of a queen side attack coming. White can still play moves like king h1, you know, look for f5 even, right? And me likey a lot. Anyway, interesting stuff. So okay, that should be fun. Let's take a break and head back into our other view and start to and have some fun. Have some fun with the content, you know. But first thing, let's before we check out the content, let's check out the chat and see how things are going. Right arrow, right arrow, right arrow, double. I don't even know what you're saying. I don't know why you're yelling at me. Okay, one thing you could look at is the game in a simul. I am Voja regularly times out a ton of games in a simul because he can't see them and they don't show up. This is every week and his rating is so low for an IM. So you want, that's from a feature perspective. That's from Dag Hour wants us to take a look at the feature of the simul. You know, we have, I don't know if he's got like an auto switch off, but we have the feature where it should be switching to his games, and maybe he's playing too many games. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. It is easy to time out in a simul, but it's also easy to not to. I mean, you have to have enough games that you can handle, and so that you can keep track of them and have a time control that's reasonable for the format. So I haven't heard any feedback from my team. You know, the guys that regularly kind of QA and do the kind of reporting on, hey, we can tweak this feature a little bit. The last time I used the simul feature, I guess, was in Bullet, so it doesn't count. But I thought it was okay. So that's, I'll keep that feedback in mind, Dagauer. I'm not dismissing you. I'm just you know, not sure. So new hairstyle, that's right. I guess a little bit of a new hairstyle. It's called the no gel hairstyle either, by the way. My hair just does this. It does this if I have it short. So there you go. I mean, I know you don't believe me, but touch the hair. Touch it. It's light and fluffy. Okay, there's no gel in here. Right? This is not me sitting in front of the mirror and being like, oh, yeah, right, get the Jimmy Neutron right here, right? I basically, my hair is light. I get out of the shower. I go like this once, and look at that. So now I'm self-conscious. Thanks, buddy. Bobby Telpara, premium member, says, Danny, an idea when Tactics Trainer issues will be resolved, specifically when the reset feature will be working again. Currently, it resets your rating, but leaves the rest of your stats and history in place. I assume you use our user snap feature to report a bug and make that request. I wasn't even aware of that issue if you're talking about a reset. I know we've made some changes to the tactics algorithm lately, and of course I've commented on that, but I don't know about that. Darkunicorn666, I am new to chess.com. I want to play you, Daniel, but you don't accept challenges of anyone below 9. That's not even true. I accept challenges of people lower than that all the time on the Bullet Brawl. You got to show up when I'm playing games, buddy. This is not a me problem. Don't you put that voodoo on me. If I could create my own chess set, what would be the theme for the pieces? I actually don't like all these like new creative versions on chess. Like I just saw this Kickstarter for one, and I'm not trying to down talk anybody's idea. It's great, go fund it. I'm not into it. I'm not into like new weird chess pieces. I mean, it's just not my thing. Let's check on the Twitch chat. Job Edgem says Amon is Danny's hair idol. That's not true. It doesn't. I do respect. I respect the hair. I respect Amon's hair. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think so. I like that one. Prime Shoe says I should try the afro. Let my soul glow. I'm digging that. But no, my plan will not be to let my hair go out much farther. I think I might even go back to the old mature look soon, where I'm kind of parting it on the side or something. I don't know. Let's not talk about my hair. It's ridiculous and gross. Come on. But what are some good questions? Let's get some questions here, people. Yes, it is. Z Nation Chess asks, is it legal to move pieces on the board for analysis? Yes, daily chess is correspondence chess. You're literally supposed to analyze it and use all legal resources available to you are everything but a live engine. So the only thing that will get you closed for cheating on our site is if your moves are if you're referencing a live engine, we catch you, title player or not, and we will catch you over time. You can't fool us. And so the point is, as long as you're not accessing engine analysis, you're actually legally using all resources. So what does that even, what does that even mean, right? I mean, if we go back to full board and talk about it, so you are allowed to not only analyze with everything you've been seeing me do. I mean, the tool is there because it's a feature, but you're also allowed to. Okay, these are the game details, but you're also allowed to check your position in, for example, the openings explorer. If you manually go through it and you want to set up, if you want to set up explore openings and you want to actually, check your game, that's totally legal. You can use our openings explorer. You can use ChessBase. Let's see if I remember my game. You can use, other tools and whatever. It's all legal in regards to analysis, because basically daily chess is the modern day version of correspondence, and in those cases all human resources, your own preparation, opening theory, and your own brain power is allowed. And unfortunately many people can't stop there, and not I say many people, the truth is it's not true. I mean, I live in a cynical world where I have to deal with a lot of fair play violations, so that's one of my jobs. So it's tough when you see people cheating, you hate it, but the truth is most people don't. I mean, if you think about it, most people don't cheat, and they don't use an engine, and they also don't even really know all the resources available to them. So I, again, am not very good at correspondence because, again, we've talked about the fact that I play it often like it's bullet. This is the most effort I've put into correspondence in a long time. But you are allowed to use resources available to you, and we encourage you to do it. I mean, use the resources that are integrated right within chess.com. So Z Nation Chess, you are allowed to. So there you go. Who else we got? We got, hey, Danny, quick question from TJ Sticks and Twitch. I'm not sure if he's explaining this clearly, but how feasible would it be to have a member's average cap score listed on their stats page for a particular variant? But are you saying a cap score for variants for a member? That's interesting. We don't have the technology to analyze. Our cap score is based on a number of statistical algorithms that some we kind of reveal in the thing where we talk about we're measuring someone's accuracy. Everyone is measured up against the same yardstick, right? So if everyone's measured against the same yardstick, that allows us to sort of transcend the era and talk about accuracy, which everybody kind of chewed us out for in the beginning, and now it seems like everybody's into it. And we only have improvements coming to that, because I think that as you can improve the threshold by which you measure games, you can actually dive even deeper into how accurate people are. And I find it really fascinating when you see outliers. Like it should be expected that the best chess players now are better accuracy-wise than the chess players of the past, because the game itself has evolved and people are better. It's a higher level of chess. But so when you see an outlier, someone like Fischer being like better than world champions that came after him in terms of a cap score, it's so fascinating, right? To see the level of accuracy and ruthlessness that the guy like that played chess with. So it's amazing. Anyway, so interesting stuff, but I don't think having a cap score for variance is in the near future. So TJE Sticks, I hate to bust your bubble, buddy, but knowing what I know about the algorithm and the stat, that's just, engines don't even understand, 3-check and Crazy House and King of the Hill and these other things like we'd want them to yet. So anything is possible, but it's certainly not a priority at this point. I do look at the Twitch chat, the Chair 007. I've been answering questions for the last 5 minutes. Thanks for joining the party, right? Thanks for becoming a consciously aware person. Okay. Possible to challenge you to a week per move game when you don't have to play at focus at all, a chance to play you from Z Nation Chess. I don't know. I'm not taking on a lot of new challenges right now because I've already got this tournament going and stuff. But at some point, yeah, I like to play everybody. All right. So enough talking here. Let's dive into some more chess, what people want to see. Danny created the deep blue of cheat-catching engines. It's true, actually. We have, and we're getting better all the time. We would never claim to be perfect. It would be arrogant, but I can claim that we put more into this. I mean, we have 4 full-time salary employees who all they do is cheat detection. From a statistical analysis perspective to detective work to analyzing and making sure we're aware of the new ways and browser plugins people have that block detection and they think that they're getting away with cheating and all kinds of stuff. But one of the approaches we have that is powerful when it's based on statistics is that the method becomes less relevant. Where people are always wondering in crime, they always ask the same question. How did they do it? Danny, how did they cheat? And they don't realize that our approach has sort of transcended the relevance of that, because what matters is not always how they did it. Yes, there are some more primitive ways that allow us to catch basic repeating cheaters faster, but we don't need or care as much anymore about how they cheat, because we can catch them even if they think they're hiding it, even if the method is less obvious, you know? So that's kind of the goal. Anyway, let's do it. Let's solve the daily puzzle, shall we? That's what I think we should do. We should go solve the daily puzzle. So let's do it. More chess, and then I'm going to play a game. The first person to challenge me, we'll get a game in. Daily puzzle. So this is weird. Huh. This one is the first one we've solved this week that didn't just jump out at me as far as the answer goes. So let's see. If I take d5, bishop d2, oh, I can just take with the knight. So that's why it's winning. So the knight d5, queen d5, bishop b4. And if he takes d2, I just take with the knight, and it's protected. Hashtag winning a piece. So that's the key. Okay. It didn't pop out at me, right? And I guess it's because my initial assumption of knight takes d5 was that queen takes d5, like pin the knight on f3, and I just wasn't putting the order together properly. So, all right, that was a fun one. Now let's go play some live chess, right? Let's see. Oh, this guy's back. He's made more moves. Let's do it. This guy is on a roll, right? I love it. Queen to b6. Interesting. So he wants to put the knight on c5. That is the only purpose of this move. And the question for me is, do I care? I may not be relevant to me in terms of the plan I've sort of launched. If he plays knight c5 and goes out of his way to win my light square bishop for the knight, well then, c'est la vie, right? One plan I can already consider launching is the move h4 here. The only problem with h4 is I'm liking my position so much, I wonder if I'm actually happy if he plays h5, right? Let's see. If h4, h5, do I go to sack town, boom town, check town, move town? This is interesting, right? Hey, yeah, right. Interesting. I don't know. This is usually where I lose my daily chess games, is I tend to go a little too nuts when it's unnecessary. But if he doesn't, and he goes like this, just to prove the point, like this is just not a threat. This is just, I mean, that's fine with me. And now he has to deal with this. I mean, taking is a terrible option. His king side is becoming destroyed. If he sits on it, I'm taking here, which is also just ugly. So I really like h4. So now that gives me the, once you have a strategical justification, that gives you the green light to look at tactics. And I want to clarify that for people, because this is actually a really instructive piece of advice that most people, they feel like attacking the king or the piece sacrifice is the thing that comes first, and then they try to justify it. Usually you should be on the path, in the car, driving to your destination that strategically is wise, right? h4 with h5 gains space. It's a closed center. My king is in trouble, and I know that attacking on this side of the board where I've got this awesome grip, I mean, this is strategically the most sound thing to do. So then if I find a plan I like, and along the way, right, like along the way in my car, somebody does something stupid, right? Now so you've sort of given yourself the green light to now calculate tactics. And a lot of people, they emotionally convince themselves that something works because they just want to go for it tactically. But there's a reason why Botvinnik said, right? Tactics are the servant of strategy. So you have to be on the strategy train before the tactical stops make sense, you know? I think this metaphor ended a while ago and I've continued to butcher it, so you're welcome. All right, but let's look at this. Knight takes. So is there any other sort of like real option to like counter it? That's one thing you should look for first in sacrifices. It's not just assuming that they have to play the forcing moves. Somebody is giving me a jingle. I had to silence that. So take, Chekalina, f5. I mean, this could be nuts, but it also could just like not work and be unnecessary, right? It's interesting. Certainly in a blitz game, I would go for this every day, right? But do I have to play? Because the thing is, if I don't have a sack, does it matter? The problem I have with this is if h5 works and I don't have a sack, then I regret it, because then I wish I had g4 in. Then I'd rather like really build it up because I believe in my space advantage. So if he can play h5 and kind of put the kibosh on my pawn storm, and I don't have any way to punish it tactically, well, that's irritating for me, right? Not the end of the world. White is still, I think, much better here. I can castle short. Is this move order worth considering? No, it's not, because he can take here first, and then his queen guards the e6 pawn. Because I was calculating something like this is an interesting idea. But what's the point? And if he takes here, taking with check doesn't seem to do much. Although this would be very fun to play, right? I mean, I'm down a piece, but do you not love my position? Look at that bad bishop, right? I put a rook on f1 and play f5. I mean, probably this is fully, you know, in a practical game, like rapid game for sure. I would just be playing h4 instinctively right now. H4, h5, other options. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, king e7. I don't know. But none of this is really necessary, right? I mean, I can also just play g4. I can also just castle short and just have a nice little space advantage. Right? I can just castle, have a nice little space advantage. All right. All right. I mean, you're going to meet me. You're going to have a space advantage. I'm going to meet you. All right. Rekarovka takes. NBD. But I kind of lose my attack. So why not be aggressive? B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-S-I-V-E. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Hey. B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-S-I-V-E. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Hey. We're going to be aggressive. All right, well, now I'm really liking it. He recognizes that he's not happy. He backs up that bishop. I wanted to play rook e6, but okay, the issue with rook e6 is that he has f3 now, gaining a discovery on the queen and winning the pony, yeah? If you do not like the pony to fall here, we want this one, yeah? Knight g5. I like it, yeah? And then we play knight f6. And our ponies continue to crash towards the king side, Sasha. Alexander Golden would play an attack on the king side much like this, huh? Yes, this one. I can also bring the pony. Where is his pony going? His pony is trapped, right? Yeah, he plays 95, конь e5, конь e5, конь g5, конь e5. Shipka, chop. Maybe he has this one. Actually, knight g5 is not a bueno move because he can play f4 immediately. This is how I blunder, Sasha. This is how I blunder. He can play f4 and this is a double attack, yeah? Da. Say, okay. What we play here? Con de chest. This is interesting fun, yeah? Con de chest, he possibly still have con e5. F4. Ladya. I do not like this one. Niet. And 95 is a rather irritating solution here to his problem. This is actually becoming quite the issue for me, and maybe I simply have to move the queen. Prevent all of this drama. No more drama in my life, as the Mary J. Blige would say. No more drama in my life. Sasha. We put the queen on f chest. Yeah, this is actually, he's played it well. If I move the queen somewhere, I wonder if he's going to consider f4 anyway to try to put the knight there. It wouldn't be as good if maybe I could play something like f6, I wonder. But, you know, the knight comes to e5 anyway, probably. So let's not make this too complicated, any more complicated than it has to be here. Fears g5. F4. Chop. Something like this. This pawn is hanging, but my knight is very, very powerful here, yeah? Very, very powerful here. It's a very, very nice knight. I mean, hey, that's a nice knight you got there. Hey, yo. Is that a nice knight over there? How you doing? How you doing? Okay, I like that, I guess. Do I really? I don't even know what I like anymore. But I have to do something about this obnoxious threat. Should I just bring the knight back to f6? Honestly, as strange as that seems, I'm actually becoming attracted to this move. It was a weird attraction at first. I didn't even understand why I felt that way. And suddenly the attraction grew. The attraction. Was it fatal? Sharon Stone. If queen to f3, we have rook e4. No, we don't. This is a terrible move, Denny. You're terrible at chess. But the queen isn't happy there. I can just play queen g5, and now there's no more f4, knight there. I like this move, knight f6. As strange as this seems, to retreat the knight from this powerful square, it takes care of my problems, okay? They can't, I mean, if they push these pawns now, they're really creating open file issues. If they bring the knight to e5, I mean, I can take it and take, and I wonder if I would just risk the c7 pawn for some sort of, you know, attack over here. Maybe that's a bad idea, right? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not where we want this thing to head, but interesting nonetheless, huh? I do not know. If he plays knight e5 and I'm not happy, I guess I could also just guard my... Oh, wait, no. I just take it and then play here. This feels good. He goes here. I take it. He goes here. It seems like, no, maybe not. Maybe this is also not quite the improvement I want. Somehow he's surviving in a way that I find rather irritating. Whew. Well, I've spent a lot of time on this, and I know you guys are probably not that interested to see how I approach this position. I mean, I've got a feature to do to bring this to it. We haven't even checked out content yet. It's this guy's fault for playing so fast. All right, I guess I think I'd probably have an advantage on both knight f6 and queen g5, but I guess I'm going to go with this positional approach and bring the queen back to g5 and sort of risk that if he wants to play this way, you know, the dark square bishop is just not the best piece on the planet. You know, I can play c6 and he tries to attack and I just defend it, or even defend it this way. I don't know. I don't feel thrilled about this as good as the knight looks compared to that bishop. I guess I can also go here and just kind of be a little more solid and then slowly work on f6. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go for this plan. I will play this one, yeah? I will play this queen g5. Oh, I forgot to save all of my analysis. Oh, and it doesn't save it for you if you go back. Man, we should get like a prompt there. Should we have a prompt that says, do you want to save this analysis? Right? When you've spent like a lot of time on it, I wish I could have saved that analysis. Okay. Queen g5 and the game continues, yeah? Okay. Now we play one blitz one. Challenge me, Sasha. Challenge me to blitz, yeah? Actually, likely I do not want you to challenge me. Likely I just do a search. Let's play one bullet game. See if somebody takes it up. A little bullet brawl, a little prep for tomorrow. No bullet brawl. All right, we've got a challenge here from Mighty Dog, who's been watching the show. So we'll go ahead and accept that. All right, I tried to accept that, Mighty Dog. There we go, Mighty Dog. All right, buddy. Here you go. We get one game in this bullet brawl just for you. Or not a bullet brawl, it's a blitz. More of a blitz game, but you've been watching the show, and we appreciate that. We'll get one blitz game. So here we're going to have an interesting classical Nimzo Indian. I played this b5 gambit line, which is designed to kind of expose the time lost by white, right? One of the things white gets in this line, everybody, is they go out of their way, you know, with the moves. That's interesting. They go out of the way with the moves, you know, queen c2, queen takes c3 to avoid the bishop pair, to avoid being in a position where they're going to get double pawns. But the issue is that in the process, they lose some time with the queen. So there's potential drawbacks in a lot of those scenarios. I'm not even sure what I'm doing against this particular line is right, but I just felt like with b3 I should just open the position aggressively. Maybe there was moves like knight e4 earlier. I'm going to get knight e4 now, and queen a5 check is going to follow. I was wondering if knight e4 earlier should have been played and then queen a5, but okay, I'm gonna get it now, and I think once the queen comes to a5, he should have some issues dealing with either the development of the queen side and guarding the d-pawn. Probably this whole c5 extension was not the greatest thing he could have done because the d-pawn is under fire. But okay, if he had taken it, right, then I would have taken it, and he would have had this isolated d-pawn. So the worries are understandable. That's what we would say. So the worries are understandable, and oh, why did I take it? That didn't seem like the best idea. I should have just played like queen a4 or something, but okay. Continue to try to open up the position with white having a slow kingside development. This makes sense as far as my thought process goes. e5 is a move that positionally makes sense because it undermines the protection of the c5 pawn as well. I think we should just be capturing, right? I mean, if he takes things, I'm not even calculating here. I just know that the open center position can't be the best thing that's ever happened to him. With the king sitting on e1, he's got 99 problems. And the king is 1. All right, so one of the plans now, I think, should just be to prevent him from castling in general, right? Controlling the light squares will put the kibosh on getting the king out of the center, allow me to get the rook to e8, and bring the heat, bring the hammer. You guys like my shirt, Proactive Human? I love it. It says, "My kids play outside, damn it." It's funny, right? My kids play outside, damn it. It's funny. I think it's funny. Did I ask you your opinion? I actually kind of did. Do you think it's funny? All right, we're going to have another round of Q&A. We're going to check out some content, and we're going to bounce. I think probably the feature is not happening today, given that we've spent this extra time giving you a blitz game. But chess.com today, we made daily chess moves. We solved the daily puzzle. We're going to check out the content, encourage you to do so yourself, and continue to have a blasty Mick Blasterson with this show. Not even giving the impatient check with the knight. I just want to build up. Now, maybe I should have given the impatient check with the knight because I would have been maybe winning the f2 pawn, but maybe he could play king f1. No, he couldn't because I would have... No, yeah, he couldn't play king f1. So likely I should have just done that, but let's see here. How do we want to do this? So many options, not quite enough time here. Coordination. Coordination is something I believe in with my presidency. My team is coordinated, they are exacerbated, and they have elongated their plans of attack, and that's how we won. So there you go. I did enough instruction during the game. I don't think we're going to do too much more of that. So let's jump back over and go check out some content, and then we'll see how y'all's be doing. All right, one of my favorite classic chess games. Got to check out Jeremy Silman's article. I read Jeremy Silman's articles always. These are just awesome. His ability to just, you know, deliver sarcasm in an educated way is just, it's something I aspire to. We all aspire to something, right? And I aspire to be more like Jeremy Silman. I'm not going to read the whole thing on air here today, but let's see. It seems like, what's the focus? What's the focus? This series is all about classical games affected me in a profound manner as a young teen. In general, they were positional games since for a kid growing up, attacking chess combinations, blah, 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 strategic considerations were left behind. Yeah, exactly, right? Focus on tactics when you're young, get you excited, but strategy's the bigger picture, but everybody. Anyway, so he talks about some of the greatest attackers of all time. Awesome. One of the things we're actually working on with Caps, I'm glad I checked this out, because that'll be a fun thing to say, is a Caps analysis of who the most accurate attackers were of all time. So that should be fun. That should be a fun one, yeah? So what else goes on in the news here? We have the news. We have a youth project. We missed this one yesterday, huh? Sergey, Shakir, Mamadyarov, Maxim, Grishuk, Sasha Grishuk. Okay, so a fan ran on stage to get a selfie with Ho Yifan. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's hilarious. And look at the arbiter. He's like, seriously? Seriously? But I love that. That's awesome. That's funny stuff. And Ho Yifan is kind of obliging. She's like, okay, right? That's very nice of her. That's awesome. So that's cool. Somebody criticizing the Aegon paid account watch the broadcast thing. No surprise. Yet more criticism there. And okay, and then there's some interviews and stuff. So anyway, fun stuff going on in Moscow. Who's winning? Who's leading? This is question I have, yeah? Dingley Ren is leading. Mamadjarov, Vache Legrave, Grishuk. So right now, I mean, if you haven't been paying attention to the FIDE Grand Prix cycle, I don't blame you because it's insanely complicated. But Mamadjarov, Vache Legrave, and Grishuk are in the lead. And so if one of them finishes near the top of this one as well, you're looking at their chances of being a qualifier for the candidates as like pretty much locked in almost. So that's cool. All right, cool stuff. And Sergey showed up to play a simul. How sweet of him. That's awesome. Hashtag adorbs. All right, so we've done some content. We've played a game. Last round of Q&A. Checking out what's going on in the Chess TV chat. Norstrick says, Danny, I love you. No, I love you. GG, Mighty Dog. Mighty Dog, that was a good game, man. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for the game. You're welcome. Can I explain the Aegon situation, why this Grand Prix is not being broadcast? I don't want to dive into the Aegon situation more than ever needed to, because it is a terrible, terrible mess, and I'm really disappointed to see how the organization, with the rights to what should be the most important events of the year, has handled themselves since their very existence, to be honest. And at this point, I don't really know that it's... we cover all these events because they have the best players in the world, and it's our job to provide you coverage of the best players in the world, and we will do that no matter what is going on with the world leaders. That's what we do. But it is very, very difficult to work with them and their policies. I will just say that. Danny, when is the next championship, like Crazy House Championship? So on the schedule, we have the Speed Chess Championship going right now, but we've got some huge events coming up. We need to do an announcement. I need to talk to Pete about getting an announcement up about some of the awesome events we have planned. We will have a Crazy House Championship with an increased prize fund of $5,000 this year instead of $2,000. We will have a Bug House Championship. We gonna have a Computer Chess Championship. Say what? We're gonna have so many things going on. It's gonna be awesome. Just get ready. We have many plans. We have a Streamers Chess Championship. Bucks Bunny just talked about streamers, so that we have a Streamers Chess Championship. This year will be by invitation only, and only for those who regularly stream on our site. But there's going to be a decent prize fund. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can we get Jennifer? We actually have Jennifer Shahadi lined up to be my co-host in an upcoming Speed Chess Championship. We've been experimenting with hosts. A lot of people, we've gotten different types of feedback. People have, wanted us to go back to just me and Bobby Hess. Some people love some of the new hosts we've had. Some people suggest that I should do it solo because maybe sometimes it's easier to commentate in Blitz and Rapid if it's just you kind of flapping your mouth. I don't know. But we're going to have a lot of different people, a lot of awesome guests. So many people love what's going on with the Pro Chess League and the Speed Chess Championship. So we are super excited to get some more guests coming up. What else we got here? I'm switching over to the Twitch stream, and we've got, I don't know. Maybe we should have a poll, like how should we do the streaming of Speed Chess Championship? It's tough, I don't know if anybody here speaks Russian, right? You speak Ruski. But Sergey Shipov is now doing the Speed Chess commentary solo, partly because he says in Blitz it's just a better way to do it, and I've never really considered that. I've always had a co-host, so we've considered that recently. Anyway, interesting food for thought. Great question to bring the show to a close. Code Dealer out of the Twitch chat asks, is there a better way to study chess books for a beginner? Is it better to concentrate on the most valuable concepts or insist on long variations or other parts that you feel are overwhelming to your level? I mean, so obviously you always want to do things that are difficult for you, right? Because by definition, you're challenging yourself, so you're pushing, you're extending your own ceiling. And so clearly I can't say don't do what's hard for you, but at the beginning levels, you know, there's so much just, your brain is still a sponge for the game, and there's so many just patterns that that you just need to know. So, you know, spending time solving puzzles. I have this video series on chess.com, the tactical patterns everyone must know, and that's not just a shameless premium member plug. I mean, that is I think that's one of my best series ever, because I prepared it so hard. It wasn't just live chess here. And, you know, obviously everyone knows I love to teach. I have passion for communicating to people. Otherwise, why would I do this? And so obviously I hope that the advice I offer people is appreciated in my live shows, but there's not a lot of preparation going into this. I'm just kind of giving you my thoughts. You know, as a professional chess player turned coach turned entertainer, right? But, you know, the tactics series I put a lot of work into. I mean, it's really worth the money, and it's worth getting some tactics books that are just going to improve your pattern recognition. You know, the fundamental, like, encyclopedia style books, I mean, that's just like so hard for a beginner player to go through. Like, what's one I have here? That's a good example of that. You know, like, you know, I mean, I've got these things here. You know, I mean, I've got my whole library over here, right? So I've got, like, you know, we've got like the manuals, right, and the encyclopedias, and if you go through these and you actually say, I'm going to read this cover to cover, it's very difficult. Sometimes it's better to either work on one small section, you're going to work on your rook endings or obstacle bishop endings, or it's better to use just as a reference guide if you find something that's instructive and maybe you screwed up a rook ending in your game. And then you have books like Understanding Chess Move by None, which is phenomenal, but it also has a lot of variations in it. And there's no way that a beginner player can really expect themselves to keep track of all those things in their head. So one of the things that online chess has done, I mean, a lot of the videos we have, if you actually do them the way I recommend, like if you watched my videos and pause the video when I say to pause it, try to solve it, then learn from the advice and actually do the instruction, I mean, you're talking like, you know, one chess book costs $40, right? And, you know, it's $100 a year, and you're getting all this content. I mean, I'm serious. It's like the online platform, technology has given us this opportunity to do things that is just not possible. Now, the problem is that so many of these aren't online. And I love this book, like Road to Chess Improvement by Yermo. Do you have that book? That's not just a Yermo plug. I mean, ask Alejandro Ramirez what his favorite book is of all time, and he's going to tell you this. That's Grandmaster Alejandro Ramirez. That's a phenomenal book. Secrets of Modern Chess Strategy by John Watson, also phenomenal. So, you know, I think with books, it's really hard. I focus on pattern recognition for beginners until you stop blundering. Once you're not making tactical blunders anymore, then, you know, pushing your strategical knowledge and ceiling, I think, makes a little more sense. So, all right, well, you know, great question to end the show on. Thanks for everybody. You know, Totally Kyle says he thinks the best way to play is to play and then go back and ask yourself. For sure. The only issue with that, Totally Kyle, you have to be careful of is without some instruction, you may become settled with bad habits in your calculation or your approach to the game that you don't even know you have. And you just like, you know, well, I'm just playing in my own world. And sometimes getting feedback where someone can point out, you know, your approach to something. So then what happens is, the reason why we use that word habit and it's so dangerous is because there's a difference between making mistakes once and then making them so many times where you didn't know it, where it becomes habitual, and then it's like hard to undo, right? It'd be like a golf coach saying with a golf swing, right? If you're not, you know, if you're not going inside out on the golf swing, or if you're, you know, if you're constantly slicing the ball and you can't stop and you've already integrated your swing is so bad for so long, you're a much harder case to fix. So you do need some strategical knowledge and puzzles and tactical, you know, the drills, right? The practice positions we have. You need some things to help you get better along with playing, or unless your goals are just, you know, to enjoy the game and all that stuff. But you know, that's the only thing you have to be careful of is you don't want to develop bad habits in your approach to critical thinking or your approach to how to get better. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to be out. This show went on the longest we've done it yet, which was just under an hour. Hopefully you appreciate that. You know, there's a pretty good chance I'm just going to cancel the Chess Today show tomorrow because we have this stateofchess.com lined up with Jay and Eric. So right now, if you go there and look at the Chess TV schedule, you will see the Chess Today tomorrow. But I think we're just going to cancel that. And remind everybody that if you take a look at the schedule here tomorrow with Chess Today, I think we're going to take that off the schedule and we're just going to go directly to the 10-year anniversary show, and then I have a Bowl of Brawls tomorrow afternoon. So thanks, everybody. I'll see you next week with the next Chess Today. love the questions, appreciate the feedback, and people who are enjoying the format of the show, and we will catch you